have different degrees of knowing me. I want to start with a little bit about what's got me to this point, and then I really want to hear from you. We're going to work on your vision. We'll do introductions, but just a quick overview. My journey of becoming a coach started way back in 1993 when I signed up to get a training to teach a 6-week parenting course. That was life-changing. It was from a wonderful organization, and I really got my first mentor in that organization who helped me learn the skills to be a good parenting instructor and a good parent. That same organization offered a 2-year intensive training led by a man who used to be Werner Erhard's right-hand man, in something that's become now landmark was called EST. And so I got to learn from him. And it wasn't called coaching back then, but I learned the skills of really helping people heal their limiting beliefs and their patterns in their lives that weren't serving them. So in my journey of parenting, after I had taught parenting courses in my little community in Colorado for a few years, someone called me and said, "Do you do one-on-one consulting?" And I said, "I guess so. Sure, that sounds good." And they said, "How much and how long?" I said, "I don't know, an hour, $25. And they're like, "That sounds great." And that's how I became a coach. And so I eventually raised my fees. But that was, sometimes the universe chooses you and it just lands. And so I just did consulting. I was terribly intimidated because I thought, I'm no expert. But then my mentor kept saying to me, "Vicki, you've read at this point like 20 parenting books. You are an expert." And so I had to own that, that I did have a lot of deep knowledge about specifically parenting. But then in parenting, about parenting, one of my favorite parts of what I learned, what was a huge stretch for me, was this whole marketing and sales part of getting people to enroll in my weekend seminars that I'd gotten this training for and my parenting classes. And I really didn't have a business model for a couple of years until I went to the National Speakers Association and found a coach for my business. And he gave me the whole business model. It was the first time I'd ever had that. This is how this is how you do it. This is how many times you offer free workshops, and this is how you get hired on stages. And I only worked with him for 3 months. I've worked with him at different points for the last 20 years. And that's his expertise. And I saw how important it was to really have that training. About 10 years into the parenting work, I became a trainer of trainers. So then I up-leveled my coaching skills in teaching other people to be certified to teach the parenting work I do. A couple years later, I wrote my first book called Buddha Never Raised Kids and Jesus Didn't Drive Carpool. And I only finished that book. This is a realization I kind of had fairly recently because I had hired a coach to help me specifically, mostly with all my limiting beliefs. That was the first part of what she did. She was this beautiful, she's still very active, and she's one of the founders of the International Coaching Federation. And she was in my speakers organization. So I was hugely blessed to have her. But she challenged my limiting beliefs, which is a huge part of what we do as coaches. We're not going to talk about that one today. But the second thing she did is give me courage to take bold action. And one of the first really bold actions I took was after my book sold to the publisher, they said to me, of course, you'll go out on a 3-month speaking engagement. And I said, oh my goodness, I have, my kids are 5 years old and 8 years old. Like, what? I can't write a book about how important it is to connect with your children and then go on a 3-month speaking tour where I basically abandoned my children. So it was a coach who gave me the courage. I was terrified. She said, Vicki, you're going to call the publisher and you're simply going to ask a question. How can I do this in such a way that my message is about connecting with your kids? And they were immediate. Oh, of course. And my speaking tour was 1 week home, 1 week out, 1 week home, 1 week out, which was totally fun and exciting for my kids and for myself. But I got the courage from my coach asking me one of the questions that I'm going to be sharing with all of you today. Then I went on and got my degree after I had a sad and painful divorce. I went to the University of Santa Monica, which was a powerful healing place for the pain I had been through in my divorce, and got my 2-year degree in spiritual psychology. And it was my now husband who said, why don't we go to the coaching program? It wasn't even on my radar. I was more of a keynote speaker, but in 2008, the keynote speaking business totally fell apart. So I went and got that training and learned from some of the absolute masters in the field of coaching. And it was a combination of the skills, but also how to get clients, the skills and the business model. So like most of the coaching federations are just teaching you the skills. And so I got to learn from Steve Chandler, who's considered the godfather of coaching, Robert Holden, PhD, who wrote Louise Hay's last book with her and spoke at many of her seminars, I guess, that she put on for many, many years, Carolyn Freer Jones, Stephen McGee. So that's a little bit about me, and I'm extremely excited to be here and share with you the business model and the spiritual psychology skills. So logistics first, we're recording these sessions, so I'm going to have a library of resources for you. It'll include these recordings. It will include some other resources from some other coaches, some audio, some video, some handouts. There'll be a whole page of rich resources for you, including these recordings. Looking for my last person here, I'm just going to, pardon me, just one moment, 11:11, just kind of see she's in Boston. Just going to shoot out a quick text to her in case she's confused about the time. Just we are on Zoom, that's all. So logistics, we're recording the sessions. This will be interactive. So ask your questions about anything at any time. You can ask me questions about your clients, the material that we're covering. I want it to be very flowy. And yes, I've got something prepared, but I want to follow you, your energy, your questions, and where you want to do a deep dive. We're going to take a 5-minute break because bodies don't like to sit for 90 minutes. I'm going to dance. So I really encourage you to get up, move your body, and take care of yourself. And then everything I do here is going to be, I'm going to be using the coaching skills that I am going to ask you to use, starting with the one of the most powerful things you can do as a leader and a coach or in any kind of new relationship is create agreements. So here are hours that I'm asking you to agree to. It's on your handout. Keep everything said and expressed here confidential. This is absolutely essentially important. And I think I don't have to explain why. And when I have all the resources on the page for you, it will require, it's going to be password protected so as part of that, I'm going to ask you to absolutely not share any recordings with anyone outside of this group. Keep this secret. I have complete faith that you all will, but make agreements clear. Number 2, stretch yourself, knowing we can only change when we are outside our comfort zone. So sometimes if you're a newer coach, sometimes it can be super uncomfortable to do things differently. Sometimes if you've been coaching for a while, it can be uncomfortable to think about and try something different than what you've been doing. I'm asking you to stretch yourself outside of your comfort zone and be open. Number 3, so essential for us to have real connection with each other and for me to serve you. Speak your truth. 4, be coachable. So that means that if I offer something up to you, I'm not attached to you taking it at all. And then that's one of the skills of being a great coach is you offer something up without attachment. And I think it's super beneficial to be willing to try on a new idea too. Be coachable, be open to being coached. Most coaches are highly coachable. And let's have fun. Let's have fun on this journey, right? Yeah, yes. So let's introduce ourselves and really connect here. I'd like you to share your name, and there'll be opportunities a little later to share more what you do, because we're going to really, I want to do a whole work around that. So if it comes up today, that's fine, but I want you to hold that back a little bit for right now, because that's always what we do, right? this is my name, this is what I do. Right now, I want you to share your name and what are you think your top 2 opportunities are for growth around your coaching and your coaching business. So since I can just see everybody, let's just raise our physical hands instead of do all the techno thing. Who would like to start? Rochelle, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rochelle. And 2 things what was the question?
Your 2 top growth opportunities.
Growth opportunities. One would be around, I would say, worthiness around my success as a coach and my ability to create financial wealth and security for myself and my family by helping people, supporting people. And then the other one growth would be like the systems to help make that happen. Instead of just figuring it out as I go, which I've always done.
Yeah, which is wonderful. Yeah. Beautiful. And I want to just pause here for a moment. Rochelle is the reason this is happening. Rochelle is the person who, reached out to me and said, hey, can you do this? And, I sat with it for a while. And so I thank you. And I think your sisters are going to really thank you by the end of our time together, because this is going to be good. So thank you, Rochelle, for gently nudging me. She coached me really well. Vicki, is this aligned for you? Vicki, do you think you'll do this? So beautiful. Thank you. And thank you for making this happen. Who's next? Samara, go ahead.
Okay, and I just joined from my phone too, because my headphones weren't working on my computer. So just making sure everyone can hear me. It's not too windy. So hi everyone, I'm Samara. I'm currently in Montreal where I'm from, but I do live in Los Angeles. So I'm visiting family for the month and sitting outside, which is lovely. So I think what I'm hoping to gain or grow, or what opportunities I'll get from the program, is I think learning from you, Vicki, and just like learning on how to go deeper with clients. There's certain clients that I've had for like 2 years. So kind of looking at like what happens then. And I think like almost like echoing what Rochelle said in the value piece, because sometimes I've had clients for so long that I'm like, are they even getting value out of this? I mean, like they keep coming back. And so I think they are, but just feeling like that worth. So that's the first thing. And then I think the second thing is, even as I was sitting down, like writing a little bit before this process is, I go through like phases of learning and development. And I like every time I'm learning and developing, I'm like, I need to always be doing this, because I feel like it just enriches me as a coach and me as a person and on my own transformational journey. So I'm really excited to be like, the last time I did some sort of training program was a few years ago. So I'm really excited to be recommitted to that growth. I think I just feel really good in that process. And specifically in this area is like almost like zooming out for like a plan. Like I have a structure in my business and I have systems set up, but I also am like, I trust that like whatever is going to come is going to come in an educated way. But I think this is like, will give me an opportunity to sort of zoom out and be a little bit more forward thinking, if that makes sense.
Yes, absolutely. Beautiful. Thank you, Samara.
Thank you.
Who's next? Go ahead, Shira.
Hi, I'm Shira. I live in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And my 2 things, one would be starting a coaching business. I have dabbled in different areas, but this would be kind of my first time really launching into it. And my second one would be that I constantly devise plans to save the world, and I'm always at like step 100 where it's completed and I have saved the world, and then someone reminds me that I actually have to start at step 1, and that irritates me, and then I just move on to my next way to save the world. So having guidance around one step at a time and the patience and tolerance for the details is definitely what I need help with.
We hear you. Okay, great. Thank you, Shira. Barbara.
Hi guys, hi ladies. I'm Barbara and I'm in Topanga in LA. And I'm just really grateful to be here. And I would say for me, I'm in a shifting place. So coaching is coming kind of in naturally. So for me, it feels like limiting beliefs and fear so that I can fully embrace and move into what I think is organic and natural and naturally happening. And then clarity on how to do that. Like, I think what Rochelle said, like systems and just overall clarity. You know me, Vicki, I'm just like always, it's pretty much always limiting beliefs and clarity. So as I'm shifting, so I feel like support for that and to really move into it fully.
Yes. Beautiful. Beautiful. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Well, let's jump in to your coaching vision. And you might want to write this on a separate piece of paper, or, I asked you to be thinking about this. And not so much, we're going to get into more concrete goals later, which goals and numbers are beautiful. But we're going to start with, what's the lifestyle you want with your coaching? And I want to share two, one from a very famous coach and one from someone that I've worked with, that are two kind of opposite ends of the spectrum as far as, for example, bigness of their business. One of my clients said, I'm retired and I want to have 2 to 3 clients maximum who I really like a lot, feel like I'm making a big difference in their lives. And that's it. that's her coaching vision. Then listen to the coaching vision from Rich Litvin, who's one of the top coaches in the world. I coach 3 days a week and have a marketing budget of $0. I have 5 one-on-one clients. I take 2 months of vacation a year, and I coach mainly by phone, which gives me the freedom to travel anywhere in the world. And there's anything in between. So what's the lifestyle that you want? How does it feel? Did anyone get a chance to work on this? Yeah. Do you want to share, anyone? I want you to capture it succinctly in the most a paragraph. You hear how short it is. It's not a big long expose. It's a paragraph at tops. What lifestyle? How does this fit with my lifestyle? Coaching. Who needs more time? So, okay.
I'm able to go, like, I'm good. I'm just kind of.
Okay.
thing.
All right. Well, here's your first opportunity to share yourself and be coachable. Who would like to share your coaching vision? By the way, at any point you could say no, thank you to my input. So we always get to say that. So, but I want to coach you to have it be what feels like for you, and we'll all feel it when it happens. Very, very aligned and inspiring. That's what I'm looking for. So hint for you, for your people, people say, I want to do blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, let's slow down. Is that aligned? Does that inspire you? So who would like to share theirs? We'll inspire each other. Go ahead, Shira.
So I've kind of been like since August in like a year of yes, just saying yes to things. And I heard about Vicky reached out about this like a month ago. So the expiration date was like this week of my year of yes, so it was perfect timing. So I kind of like had no idea and just wanted to say yes and see what happened. And recently I had, very recently, I had this crazy health scare, and I have chronic illness anyways. So I've been in and out of the medical system and failed by the medical system all the time. So I actually kind of had this epiphany of less, which again, even when I signed up, I felt like I was kind of less driven by the individual coaching piece, but I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. And after this happened, I was really inspired to find a way to, I'm really good at public speaking, and I'm really good at talking to people about the things that make them feel crunchy without making them feel attacked. So I was thinking about, trying to maybe get some seminars at like med schools, hospitals, medical places, especially now while companies are doing anything but actually changing the problem to try and stop people from quitting, right? So maybe this could be something that they think would help, but really ideally trying to remind doctors of why they started doing this in the first place and trying to get them to connect back to the person who wanted to help people rather than whoever they've grown into now, which is not helping anyone. And along with that, I would have always and would really like to write a book. And I have a lot of messages about that, about how I can't do that and how hard that is. And I feel like if I could, well, I think language matters. I feel like when I do seminars and things like that, that there would possibly be individuals who would be willing enough to have individual coaching, which would be really cool. As a bonus of that, either doctors or people struggling with chronic illness, because we feel, I and everyone else that I know feel so unheard, isolated, and invalidated. So to have somebody that's like, I'm in it, I get it, I'm here, like it's real, you've got someone behind you, would be really special, I think, for people in that community. So my idea, again, I have to be careful with my body. So, if there were like a travel thing, I'd probably just be open to like twice a month. And if it were local, I could maybe do like once a week, as far as that. And then individual coaching, I would kind of play that by ear, but I do have to be very careful because I am an overachiever and I overbook myself and then my body gives out. So, I have to be very careful with my time in that arena.
Yes.
And yeah, I think I covered the bases. Yeah.
So what's your vision? Like if you were to say, let's imagine it's a year from now,
Yeah.
and you've really lived your dream. You
Yeah.
really for your business. And
Yeah.
I ran into you and I
Yeah.
said, Shira, tell me what's your career? What's your coaching? What's going on? In a paragraph, tell me how you like to answer that to be true for you. A year from now.
I'm helping medical professionals learn to listen.
Yeah. Great. And how does that make you feel?
Awesome.
Yeah. And how are you being compensated? Not so
They-
much. Great. Yeah, very well. Great. Wonderful. Okay.
Because these hospitals have no concept of money. So bring it on.
They appear to. Well, that's very interesting. And so does that light you up? Does that feel like, yes, wow, that really feels great?
Yes.
Just wait till you see the serendipity of our fifth lady, who's for some reason not here today. Just wait till you see the serendipity of what you're talking about. Always does this, but it's incredible. So I wanted to light you up, and then it's got to be 50% believable, your vision.
Mhm.
Got to light you up. It's got to be 50% believable. And it's also got to feel like a stretch. Like, I'm not exactly sure how I'd create that. So does it meet all that criteria for you?
Well, yes, because in my past life, I was a marketer to hospitals and doctors and medical communities and things like that. So I know how much of a pain in the ass it is to get in front of them, but I also know that I have the resilience and ability to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Wonderful. Side note, when I was going on my book tour, right, that book tour that I negotiated to be 1 week out and 1 week home, one of the places I spoke was this gigantic spiritual center here called Agape Spiritual Center, right? And that was amazing. And what happened after my talk, two physicians came up to me, just showing me the market for it. And said, we want you to speak to, they were UCLA physicians, and they're like, we teach the family medicine doctors and the pediatricians in their third years of their residencies. We want you to come speak to them. I was completely intimidated. I had only ever taught parenting classes at that point, and I'm teaching them the most basic, like listening skills from my parenting class. And, they're kind of like, this, and they have to be there, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh. And then at the end, they were quite enthusiastic because I thought, okay, I bombed. I'm not sure if they'll give me the check. I don't know. But at the end, they said, wow, we've never heard that. So these people have been through like 7, 8, and 9 years of school without learning listening skills. And guess what? The number one complaint is of people who file a malpractice suit with doctors is, what is it? 80% of people say
they don't listen.
They didn't listen to me.
Yep.
So that is data that I used. And then I did not mean to do this, but I got thrown in. Then I spoke to neurosurgeons. Then I spoke to their national convention. And so I just know I've been paid in the past for this very well. So I know you can be. And so, I just side note here, but the research is this, that so doctors do very much want to hear how to prevent malpractice.
Yeah.
Right. So congratulations. Thank you for sharing. And so
Thank you.
who would like to go next? Your coaching vision. Yours can look very different. So
I'm ready.
go ahead, Barbara.
I coach 9 clients per week or hours per week, virtually or in person, dependent on our needs, my needs or the clients. And I'm finished by 1:30, so I can pick up Marlo. And I work 3 days a week. I host a monthly or a bi-monthly group. I'm not sure if that's virtual or in person or both. I have accessible resources for clients, non-clients, or possible clients online. I'm able to take 2 vacations per year where it's like fully paid and I'm not working on vacation. I host quarterly retreats in Topanga or somewhere off grid. I work with women about 30 years old to 80 years old.
Mhm.
And I'm open about that too. I do have, I actually don't have that many male clients really. So I don't know, I'm just kind of noticing that.
Mhm.
They're self-aware, open-minded, and ready to work.
Yeah.
And they come because they're in physical pain or emotional stress.
Mhm.
And I'm just going to say this, but I feel like there's some future working of like maybe writing something, hosting a podcast, maybe even with Eric. I don't know. There's just like something that I just want to say it out loud.
Great. Wonderful. Seeds planted.
Yeah.
How does that all feel to you?
Well, it feels really good because some of this stuff is already happening. And I think it's like, I'm just noticing that. And I'm noticing how hard I am on myself. Like I'm not ever doing enough. And I'm like, oh, I'm like already doing so much of this stuff and like love my life. And I'm just noticing how even just writing it creates more clarity.
Mhm.
And I know that there's even more clarity to find in there. And so it feels really good.
Good.
Yeah.
That's what we want. We want it to feel good and inspiring. And this is a in progress, right? This is not like a stamp on it. All right, that's it. That's your coaching vision. So we want it to morph with us, but also to be clear, because when we get it out there, we also see, oh, that's a lot, or that's not exactly what I want to be. I made the shift to working with primarily women.
Mhm.
All my events are, you see, women only. That's different. So that's just, so we get to make those choices. Beautiful. And how you're well compensated, right?
Oh, very well compensated.
Great.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you.
Thank you. So
it is. All right, who's next? We're sharing our coaching visions. Go ahead, Rochelle.
Hi, guys. I want to be coaching 2 to 3 times a week and then getting to be a present mom, wife, and friend. I'm currently 27 weeks pregnant. So this is all like this, what I'm writing down is including motherhood now. So I have 5 at the lowest, at most 8 clients who pay me extremely well and who I adore, and it's mutually reciprocal. I have freedom in my life to travel and adventure with my family and friends. I feel abundant and in purpose, and future clients effortlessly find me and sign up to work together with ease and excitement. I have all the systems in place to support my growing business and have more clarity around my niche and specializations. I see clients online and will have future in-person programs and events again and retreats in collaboration with other leaders in the space.
Beautiful. Is it inspiring for you?
Yeah. Especially since it's like before COVID, I was doing a lot of that stuff and retreats and lots of shifting and changing. And while I don't feel like ready for that now, I know I will be again in the future. So just wanting to have that in the vision.
Beautiful.
Mm.
Wonderful. And so it is.
And so it is.
Great clarity. Thank you. Thank you. Samira.
Hey guys. Okay. So I've been writing this down. So similar to Barbara, it's a lot of things that I'm already doing, but I want to be doing more of. And I think also like with a sense of gratitude, because it's like, wow, like so many of these things that I've wanted, I now have. And so just bringing that feeling of gratitude into my everyday experience of the work that I get to do. So I generally work with high achieving women by helping them tap into their intuition by getting out of their own way. and I help them shift their perspective to recognize their greatness. So I want that to feel, I work with all my clients remotely. I want to continue that. I want it to feel impactful, light and easy. And I want to continue to hold space for people to make deep transformations. That would look like, I think if I look at it annually, it's about 12 of those like one-on-one clients monthly, or like 2 new clients a month. 12 clients annually and then 2 new clients a month. I do 4 retreats a year. So quarterly retreat, like some of them are 1-day retreats, some of them are a little bit longer. I also do 2 corporate workshops a month. So that's working with companies or organizations and their leadership team on, improving their leadership essentially. I do 2 group programs a year. So with 10 women in each group. I think that also looks like, 1 to 2 months off during the summer. And also this work is done 3 days out of the week. And like, I don't really work on Fridays or Mondays. I'll take like maybe 1 call here or there. And I also create space. This is something I've been feeling a lot lately, like for like 2 to 3 hours of like learning and development a week. So whether it's like something like a course like this, or sitting and reading articles or a book or things like that. So like really carving that in and holding to that. That gives me just time to, be a mom and, continue to farm out my relationships with friends and family and things that are also really important to me. Another level that I want to add is like passive streams of income, or like really promoting evergreen content. So I have a couple of things that I've created that, we're kind of like putting energy behind. So obviously there's only so many hours in a day or a week. So like whether it's taking the content that I already have and promoting it more, or having people resonate with the content more. So it's, again, that passive stream of income, and then continuing to create more of that. I also have a small team who's really incredible, and I feel like so supported by them. So I want to like continue feeling supported by them, but also support them in like realizing their goals and be able to support them really well financially, and like be able to be a leader who empowers other women, essentially, not only in my coaching, but also in my business.
What's most inspiring to you out of all of this? What
I think
really
what's
lights you up?
most inspiring is seeing transformations with the clients that I work with. So having deep impact and deep transformational work in the clients that I work with, and just it's so felt, you can feel that when you're doing work with people. And so just continuing that and being able to do that with more people.
And then, so what's, because I hear a lot that you're doing, and that's wonderful. And I know probably some people are thinking, wow, I wish I had all that going on. But what's your growth edge? Do you think, is it deepening, having deeper transformations for people? What is it for you?
So some of the stuff that I said I am doing is stuff that I want to be doing. It's not all, I just was speaking from an I am place, right? So like having that amount of clients, or like consistently doing those retreats, or having that passive stream income. I was just speaking in like,
you were so believable that I thought you were doing it already. So
thank you.
Yeah, I'm like,
thank you. Yeah, no. So I would
Really
say, I mean, I am doing a lot of that, but not on like that. I have a team that's really amazing, but I want them to continue feeling really supported and to pay them really well. We agree, just that stuff, or like having that influx of clients, or having that consistent amount of corporate clients. Like I don't currently have that. So that's the vision. I would say I probably have that like on, I don't know, half or something.
Okay. Got it. Beautiful. Okay. Wonderful. Thank you. Andre, welcome. We are writing our coaching vision. You're welcome to jump in with that, or the question we started with, which are just say hello, your name, and your top two growth opportunities for yourself.
Oh, okay. Well, I think I could do a combo. My name is Anna Roy. And my top two growth opportunities are to expand my income
Mhm.
or my income, and to increase my ease with being visible.
Mm, beautiful. Beautiful.
And I'll get into my vision a little bit. I'll listen to the recording for what I missed, but my intention in joining this group is to connect deeply with others and myself on this journey, and to really what I envision for myself. I would love, love, love. I'm a medical doctor and a medical intuitive. So I would love to be really fully launching my course twice per year, working more from home. I would love to release my hospital work that I do, and to grow my one-on-one clients to 10 active clients per year.
So speak in the present.
I
Samara,
am
get
I am
me so convinced, so confused that I'm thinking you're already doing it. You know that.
I'm coaching these 10 rock star, superstar women who are just such an inspiration and opening up to levels of transformation that I never thought possible, and are making such a difference on the planet.
Right.
And group program is so phenomenal that my clients are just begging me to do this retreat that I do. This wonderful, gorgeous retreat in the most serene place you could ever imagine. And we all just have these beautiful opportunities to grow and transform.
And so it is.
It is.
And so it is. All
Yay.
right. Thank you. Thank you all for your inspiring visions. And we'll keep, your visions are going to lead you. So we'll keep, this is not just one and done. This is just a start, and some of yours might feel complete. But I promised a dance break. So whatever break you need, let's go move our bodies, get some water, listen to your body. What do you need? I'm setting my timer for 5. This is my book writing timer, because books don't get written unless you measure. See you back here in 5 minutes. All right, beautiful souls. Before we get into this topic of what makes a great coach, let's do a little logistics. Each person who signed up, whatever date I chose for the 3-hour intensive, couldn't do it. So I said, we'll just do it all together here. If we can't reach a consensus fast here, I'll just do it via email. I don't want to take too much time. But if you'll get out your calendars and starting with run some dates by you. August 13th is coming right up in 10 days. Is there
What's
anyone
this for? This is for the
for the 3-hour intensive?
other date doesn't work.
Yeah, every date I chose didn't work for someone, and we're such a small group. I just wanted to do consensus.
I can't do the 13th.
All right, so we'll skip. Next is August 20th. No, I can't do. And then the 27th. So
I have a quick question. One is everyone in LA, and B, is everyone going to go in person who is in LA?
2 people are not in LA, you
Okay.
and Andre. The rest are in LA. So I'm happy to do a hybrid where the 3 LA people come here.
Mm-hmm.
And so you'll be at total choice. You can come here or do Zoom.
Well, I'm asking because I might be in LA in 1 or 2 of the weekends in September to visit some folks. So I just didn't know what kind of the vibe was on that, and if I should plan it around that, or
Yeah.
really whatever works for everybody, but that would be cool if I could go in person.
No kidding. Okay, great.
Yeah, I'm out of town like for the whole month of August. So September totally works for me
Okay.
for the in-person LA.
Okay. September 10th work? No for Rochelle. Okay. And September 17th? No for Rochelle. Yes for. I know September 24th is out. And okay, if we go to October 1st. Yes. Waiting for Andre and Shira on October 1st is a possibility. Yes for Shira. Andre, does October 1st work for you? You are, yes, okay, October 1st. So I'll change that on all the dates. October 1st. Okay, that is handled. All right, beautiful. We're going to be adding some other dates based on consensus too, because we just need a little more time for what I want to share with you. So I'll check in with you about those. All right, let's dive in. What makes a great coach? Well, I love that some of you are sharing, that your goals are to go deeper with clients, have more of a transformation, because people get confused about this. But the number one most important thing in growing your business is your ability to help a person have a transformation. I am super lame on social media. My kids keep begging me to put something out there, but when you help people have a transformation, guess what? People are not quiet about that. I also almost never even ask for referrals. That was taught at my coaching school, but I gratefully and in partnership with Spirit just have a steady flow of clients because of the transformation that happens when people are here, right? And every once in a while, my coach will be like, well, reach it. I'll think, I don't know if people are going to renew this time or stay. Many people I've worked with for years. But that's it. So to me, it's the number one marketing skill, be able to create a transformation. And so that's why I'm really excited to, it's just an introduction to today, but we're going to go I was thinking in the 3-hour intensive, but if we're waiting till October, I'll probably mix it around. But we're going to go into the spiritual psychology tools about where in that program, and a couple of us here have been through that program, you charted and planned and created a shift and a transformation in your consciousness. That's what that program's all about. So those tools, many overlap just regular psychology. And so I'm really excited. And I think we're going to really start into that in our next session, the spiritual psychology tools, but you're going to get an introduction to some of them today. So what makes a great coach? Overarching, creating transformation in your clients. How do we do that? So number one is the quality of your listening. The quality of your listening. One of my teachers in the USM coaching program, Steve Chandler, you may or may not have come across him. He's considered the godfather of coaching. He's one of the people that really started it, back in the day. He's got to be in his late 70s now. And he talked about something called the lamppost theory. And trying to explain to coaches the incredible value it is just sitting with people and listening. He said, if you had a guy who had problems at work and he came out every single night and just talked to a lamppost and the lamppost said nothing back to him, he would probably start to change. There's incredible value in just speaking about what is going on inside of you. When we add listening, it completely ramps it up. And it's easy to be like, especially those of us who already coach, yeah, Vicky, I know that one. But we're going to go deep in another session into what is extremely effective and powerful listening. But let me give you a little bit of a taste of it. Stephen Covey, by the way, I started out all my parenting classes with this. This is a universal skill. So you want closeness with your kids. You want closeness with your partner. You want to be an effective coach. It's surprising all the things that can get in the way, but to learn the skills of listening and particularly listening if you're triggered or you've got an agenda, which sometimes as coaches, we have an agenda. We have an agenda for them to change, or in a discovery session, what agenda do we have? That's hard to let go of. Signing them up, right? As a client. Yeah, Samara. And so, but the deeper we go into learning how to listen, really listen without any attachment to outcome, the more powerful we are as a coach. One of the hardest skills, and I know for me, it's taken a very long time because my training, and I came from being a teacher of a parenting class, then I went into keynote speaking. So my whole bent and passion on this planet is teaching. I love to teach, but I have to be careful. And by the way, you don't have to be perfect to be a great coach. I still think I talk too much in my coaching sessions. I know my teachers would assess me and say, you're talking a lot, girlfriend, and I still get transformation. So you don't have to be perfect at this. And this is my own edge, an opportunity for growth. And I'm constantly calling myself higher in it. So there's a woman named Nancy Klein who wrote a book called Time to Think. She's got a very radical approach to coaching in which she does not say anything until the coaching client asks something. She starts out by saying, what's on your mind? And then she'll let them talk the entire session, which I have done many sessions like that. And she has this word, spaciousness and silence is required for really deep listening. Spaciousness meaning your client shares how they feel, what they want, what's going on. And I want to get better and better and better at expanding the silence and the spaciousness after what they've said. So Nancy Klein said, don't murder, don't be a thought murderer. That's one of her sayings. easy to remember, right? And I remember in my coaching training, after they shared this, I'm like, my name is Vicky and I'm a thought murderer, right? Like most people are, and in our culture, we are, because we talk over each other. Our culture doesn't support listening at all. So spaciousness, silence. I had some accidental learning of this. Some of you know that one of my only health issues that I struggle with, but it's a gnarly one, is migraine headaches. So sometimes I have to cancel coaching sessions. Thank God it's only about once every 2 months. And sometimes a migraine comes on right when I'm in the middle of a coaching session. And I'm just not, I don't have access to all my skills. And so I remember my coach saying, just like work less, just work less. And I will tell you that some of my clients' most massive transformations have come when either I've been very sick, injured, or tired, and I don't have all my stuff to say. Another part of this, I used to, one of my expertise is around helping people heal from their partner's affairs. That's what I really did a lot of healing work around in University of Santa Monica. And then I learned at University of Santa Monica coaching program, I get to choose who I work with. So not surprisingly, the women who were dealing with their partner's affairs, there's a lot of trauma. There's tremendous amount of upset. I'm good at it. But I gave myself permission, like I'm giving you right now. You get to work with the people you like to work with. And that got to be too heavy, but for a while there, I created a meetup group and I'd have meetings at my house, and then people would do discovery sessions. So, meetup was not a very, I just sort of did discovery sessions with whoever seemed nice enough and signed up. But I got a couple of people who had extreme anxiety or some kind of mental health issue, because they came to my house, they sat in my living room back when I used to coach my living room, and I do a 90-minute session and they talked for 85 minutes. I'm not kidding. And they just, they were just upset, and it was a safe, loving space. And I just, one woman, I think she just had extreme anxiety. And I thought, okay, I'm going to wrap this up, this is obviously, she's not going to become a client, I can't work with this. And at the end, this happened 3 times. They talked for 85 minutes. I just relaxed into spaciousness and silence and acknowledging feelings, which is part B of this. And all 3 of these women said, that is the most phenomenal session I've ever had in my life. You are amazing. I was stunned. I almost fell over. And I've had similar results, like again, when I've been either super sleep deprived, injured, or sick, and coaching when I just can't do it. And so now what I did in those 5 minutes are skills that you do want to learn and have and master, but that's the power of more spaciousness, more silence, extraordinarily powerful. In our culture, nothing about our culture teaches us to do that. And acknowledging and inviting expression of feelings. So you've got to learn this skill. And I'm going to be in constant contact with all of you about where you want to do a deep dive. But this is an entire 90-minute session if you want to go there. How many of you think you could really benefit from getting better at acknowledging or working with people's feelings? Anyone? Or do you feel like I've got that? No. Okay. Because it's powerful, and it's the basis of what I work with. I've got a couple of parenting clients right now. I don't seek that out, but a couple of my people are moms, and it's the quintessential skill. So we can really take a deep 90-minute dive into that. Rochelle, do you have a question? Go ahead.
Yeah, I do. So, my background is in, my master's in marriage and family therapy. And so while I hear what you're saying with this, there's also what I've been taught is the process over the content. So when someone's stuck in the content of the story, how do you also gently lead them out through inquiry and question and curiosity, so they're not maybe spending that whole 90 minutes in the content of a he said, she said that. So I'm curious, where's the line with both of those?
Great question. That's coming up in the answer to your question
Oh,
is coming up because I don't want you to just be silent for 85 minutes.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't want you to, I don't, it's a mix. So great question. Number 4. We're getting there. Yeah, because you don't want someone to just ramble. This is kind of like, I guess, let me preface it and thank you, a little context. I realized early on in these sessions, like, oh, I don't want to work with this person. So I'm just going to just sort of listen. I gave very little, that's not my coaching strategy, but you're going to take what you want and leave the rest. Some of you may give a tremendous amount of spacious and silence, and it's really some of these other things that are what you want to ramp up. Know yourself and what, but that's a great point, because we don't just want to sit there and be silent. I don't want you to hear that at all. Number 2, I don't have to teach you this one, but investing in your growth. People benefit from who you are. For yourself, Steve Chandler, quote out here, more than anything else. People are responding and people will transform based on your level of involvement. So coaching truth, you can't take your clients deeper than you have gone. And some coaches do run up against this. Some coaches I've coached, the thing they've run up against is that they don't have the place in consciousness. They don't have the healing within themselves to take their clients where they need to go. So you're here, you're obviously growth minded, but it's extremely important. Number 3, SLOWING, similar to spaciousness, slow down. And I like to say that to people when they're, number 1, when they're talking fast. So Rochelle, this is one, I guess, number 3 and number 5 for this one. So, hey, let's slow this down. So I don't let someone go off on if they're, and I get that. I got it a lot more when people were in trauma from their partner's affairs than I do now from the kind of clients I attract now. But like, let's just slow it down. So, because always the first thing I want is them to deal with their feelings. Another time that slowing down is extremely important when they agree to do something. Yeah. I'm gonna call those people. I'm gonna exercise. The woman I was talking with today, she's like, I'm gonna organize my house. I'm gonna do it for 30 minutes at a time. And I'm like, let's slow that down. She's a woman with a very full life, and she doesn't really have 30 minutes, and she isn't gonna do 30 minutes, but she has 5. And then part of related to when they say yes, especially to working with you. When they say yes to working with you.
When they say yes to what?
Working with you in a
Can you
discovery.
elaborate on that a little bit? What do you mean?
Yes, indeed. Yeah. So a courageous and effective coach regularly does something called test the yes. What do we usually do? What's typical kind of in our society? Someone says, you know what? I'm in. Some of you texted, I have several texts from you. I'm in. Right. And when someone's signing up for a 6-month package or a 3, whatever package, what do we usually do? Let's call ourselves out. I'm part of the crew. What do?
Great.
Awesome. This is so exciting. I really am looking forward to this. This is great. And there's nothing wrong with that, but you'll get less commitment and you're not serving your client, and you'll get more people who ghost you, and you'll get your own client less committed to their own yes. This makes sense? So we want to test the yes. Slow it down. And oftentimes that's what I'll say. And this is what my teachers taught me. People say yes to anything, right? yes to something you suggest about, like this woman today. She really started, she said, I need 2 to 4 hours to organize my kitchen. She's a teacher. She's like, before I get back to it, and I'm like, she said, I'm just going to carve that out of my schedule this week. I'm like, yeah, probably not. I mean, I didn't say it like that, but I'm like, does that sound realistic? She was saying yes to carving out 2 to 4 hours. I'm like, how does that feel in your body? So which kind of morphs right into number 4, the quality of your questions. Coaching truth. No coach is being paid for their advice. They are being paid for the quality of their questions. But it's one of the biggest misnomers out there in coaching. I'm being paid for my advice. And look, I have specified advice. So some of you know, you've come to me. I have real specific advice around parenting, relationships. And so that's a little bit, specified, and people are asking for that. So I've got a little bit more permission in my niche to do that. Some of you have, working with body issues, and some of you are sobriety. And so you've got that specialty, you need to share that. But the quality of your questions is what's going to serve them. So here are 3 of my very favorite questions. Number 1 is to test their yes. And here's how you do it. What, if anything, would get in the way of that? Of ... Because when
Can you repeat that again?
Sure. What, if anything, would get in the way of ... you moving forward coaching with me? You scheduling 2 to 4 hours in your house to clean your house? You speaking your truth to your spouse about that very sensitive emotional issue? So when they say yes, great, that I honor your commitment. What, if anything, would get in the way of that? And sometimes when people say, I'm in for coaching with you, they'll say absolutely nothing. I am. And then it is actually soothing to your client. We want, because a good coach handles objections. So we love objections. Oh, well, I don't know. My husband told me I've been spending a lot of money. So I guess I'm concerned about if I go home and tell him I've signed up for this. Some people need to ask their spouses, which is a whole other conversation we're going to talk about when we talk about what does it look like a really powerful, transformative coaching discovery session. We're going to really get into the nitty gritty. So this is a little bit overview today. How do you think this will turn out if you do nothing? My second favorite question. We're going to get into a whole list of these that I'm going to give you. How do you think this will turn out if you do nothing? I was working with a parenting client who has a little guy who's kind of out of control. They haven't been good with setting boundaries. He doesn't listen. They're like, he's ruling our entire home. So as we're wrapping up that coaching session, what do you think will happen if you do nothing in this situation? Oh, this kid, we've got addiction in our family. This kid will be abusing alcohol and drugs. This kid will get in trouble in school. I mean, I was shocked at their level of awareness, and it doesn't have to be that dramatic. It's also a great question that we want to use in a coaching discovery session. How will things happen for you if you do nothing, right? A lot of you know, a big percentage of who I'm working with right now is women who want to find their soulmates. Many have in this year. Love it. But when I'm doing a discovery session with them and they're on the fence, well, how do you think it'll go if you don't do anything around these issues that you have about your attachment, your anxiety, your negative, your dysfunctional dating patterns, your codependence, which they usually will have already shared with me. Oh, well, I'm probably not going to meet someone, or I'm going to end up with someone who's dysfunctional. Super powerful question. You feel it?
Yeah.
And one of my favorites. How would you show up if you were not afraid? Another one of my female clients met a guy. She really likes him. She's not sure if she's attracted to him, which is where usually they're very attracted and then they're dealing with their anxiety. But she's like, I don't know, but she's kind of holding back in the relationship. I asked her, how would you show up? So this could be in your coaching business, in a relationship, anywhere, if you were not afraid / completely trusted the divine. Some of you here, I've asked this question to. And what she said in that case is, oh, I just be my more authentic self and just relax. So we want to ask questions always instead of give a directive, which is giving advice, telling people what to do. Even when I teach, I don't give directives. Even if I talk too much, which I know I do sometimes, I'm not saying you should this or why don't you do this, because that is not good coaching. Telling people what to do is not good coaching. Asking questions that bring them to their own answer is excellent coaching. Do you hear the difference? Questions instead of directives. Again, we're just very introductory here, and we're going to go deep into this. And I'd love to, if you ever, at any point, if you want to type in the chat about what you want to go deeper on, just throw it in the chat, or you can talk with me about it. Or raise your physical hand. I think I can see everybody. Can I see everybody? No, everyone's not on my screen. Let me fix that. I can see all of you. Okay, now I can see everyone. This is one of the core tenets of spiritual psychology, number 5, and is one that's very easily and very often left out of coaching training. Knowing that your client has all the inner resources to effectively respond to their situation. So at USM, after I went to USM, I was a person who graded the papers of the master's students for 5 years. That's when my learning, right? You want to learn something, teach it, right? That's when my learning really solidified of the USM skills. And I got, as part of that, they put together every single USM handout we ever got for 2 years in this cute little booklet. And at USM, you would learn a skill, which is what you're going to have some experience here doing. We're going to get a lot more interactive. You learn a skill, and then you immediately did it, where one person was the counselor, one was the client, one was what was holding space, called the neutral observer. On 100% of the handouts, like this is a handout on prizing, right? On really being encouraging and positive. It says, remember, the person before you has all the inner resources necessary to effectively respond to their situation. So if I know that, I'm operating in the spiritual realm. Otherwise, my ego takes over and I think I have all the answers that this person needs. Even if you've got deep expertise, like I have deep expertise in relationship stuff. And I know a lot of you have deep expertise, but it's a way of being. And again, you're going to get to really practice this, especially during the intensive. This person has all the inner resources necessary to respond to their situation. And number 6, having a service consciousness. Coaching truth, income follows service. So this also is about a consciousness and a state of mind. One of the most challenging things for coaches is when they get in that discovery session where they get into a mindset of, oh, I need this client, or I really want this client. It's easy to get into impressing that person, trying to look good. These are all ego position instead of serving. So the trick is to flip our conscious into be more interested into serving your client rather than getting a client, especially on discovery sessions. Rich Litvin, who again, his vision I shared with you, which he lives about 5 clients a year. I think last time I heard he was $200,000 a year to coach with him. I'm sure it's increased since then. He said, show your clients what they cannot see. Say to your clients what no one else would dare to say, and you'll have all the clients you desire. Shira, right? As long as we do it with love. As long as we do it with love. And it's super powerful to ask it in a question, just like I asked that the people dealing with the 4-year-old, out of control 4-year-old, what do you think will happen if you do nothing? So we're going to go way more deeply into service consciousness. Steve Chandler writes about this in many of his parenting, or not parenting, his coaching books. The Prosperous Coach is one of my favorite books of his. I'm going to put all these resources in our page that we're going to have as soon as I get this edited. So we've got a few minutes left here. I want to check in with what's landing. What are your takeaways? It's a brief introduction, but it's a powerful one. These ideas. What's landing for you today?
I wanted to just ask you, Vicki, that last part, is that kind of the same philosophy as servant leadership?
So I don't exactly know what servant leadership is. Can you explain it in a paragraph?
I think it's similar. I don't exactly know what it is either, to be honest, but I think it's like this idea of like service first.
Yeah.
Yeah, that last part resonated with me a lot. So I was just curious because I think it means the same thing, and I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, but I just don't, I mean, I've heard that term, but I don't know. But it's right, it's a mindset shift. Like what would really serve this person? And I know when I first started and I really needed clients, it was a sometimes painful one to make inside myself, to be like, what would serve this person? Instead of like, how do I get a client? And oftentimes, so that's anywhere from, we're going to talk about in our business model, what emails do we send? How do we reach out to people? How do we talk in those emails? Because a lot of people get out of service and into people pleasing in their emails. So it's kind of radical, Steve Chandler's philosophy on this, but everything's about, is this serving? Because, well, I'll give you one concrete example about emails. Steve Chandler and his philosophy, if you do a discovery session with someone and they don't sign up with you, we're going to get really deep into that. We do not send an email saying, hey, just wanted to check in. So I'm going to give you a concrete example. That's about who? Who's that about? Me, the coach. Are you going to be my client? Right? You might as well type that. Service consciousness is, if it's legitimately from an honest place, hey, I found this article, like Gay Hendricks is one of my mentors. And so I work with couples. I'll often send them from a place of service. Whether I'm already working with them or not, or had a discovery session, it doesn't matter. Oh, I wanted to, here's an article from Gay Hendricks about what it takes to create a conscious relationship. I thought you would enjoy that. So there's one, again, we're going to really get into this. It's just an introduction today, but great question. But you hear the difference. One comes from service. I'm genuinely, what would help this person? And I want to be in a state of mind of, I want to help this person, whether they work with me or someone else. Sometimes service consciousness, I work with people and I see they have a lot of anxiety. Sometimes, again, it was mostly the heal from the affair clients because they were going through trauma. And I would say, I'm not your person. I'm going to recommend a therapist. That's service consciousness. Right? And I get into neediness or wanting a client and it's about me. I'm going to be like, great. No, I think I can help you because you know what? I'm a dang good coach around healing from affairs. But if I'm service, anything I send them, any email I send them, any phone call I have, any conversation, anything is from that. Who else? Takeaways from today. Rochelle, go ahead. And then
I just love the reminder of the quality of the questions. And specifically two of them, like I have a client that's been with me for a while, and she's very stuck in her romantic relationship, and it's just affecting her mental health and her physical health. And she is pretty unwilling. She's like, just every day it's like a back and forth. So just even the quality of the questions, specifically the number 2 and 3, could be helpful, because I've been feeling a little stuck with this specific client. So it's a good reminder. Thank you.
I'll just put up the list of questions. I'll just put that up as a resource. It's long, but there are some juicy, life-changing ones on there. Well, I told you my favorite already. If you only went with those 3, I just don't want to overwhelm you, but I'll just type them up and put them on as a resource. Andre, go ahead. Unmute, Andre. I want to hear you.
Sorry. No, this was so powerful. And as you were speaking, it was like I was hearing the question for myself.
Mm.
And that's how I know if these questions can be so powerful for me as the coach, as the physician, how then can they be more powerful for my clients that I serve? And how will this help me as a coach in my own elevation and transformation? So I plan to take these questions to some of the stuff that I myself am working through right now.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
First of all, Andre, I'm obsessed with you. And when you hear the playback, you'll understand why, but even just the phrase medical intuitive, I'm like fangirling. But my takeaway is that this just crazy vision that came to me when I was literally in like a medically induced psychosis a few days ago, is possible. A, it's possible. B, there's a need. But even Vicki, when you shared about like going to hospitals and talking to doctors and stuff, it was like, my dad I remembered that my dad used to do that, and I didn't even remember that. So it felt like it was like this thing that doesn't exist, and it's going to be so hard to create, but it's existed forever. So that just kind of gave me a lot of hope too. So yeah, I'm really excited. I'm super excited.
Wonderful. Thank you.
I really love just the listening part so much, because I'm a teacher first. I think I've been teaching for most of my life, and I'm also a know-it-all. And I love to think I know what's best for people. So, and I'm really conscious, I'm more conscious now just from the work that I've been doing, but I know that will be something that I always will work on. And so bringing the spaciousness and silence, which I witnessed you, Vicki, doing, and noticing my own discomfort with that, right? And then being able to sit into that space so that a question can even come into my mind, because I notice when I listen, I'm like, whatever tools I have and information or archetypal languages, or they start to come in, and just to like settle that and like keep listening and know that the divine is going to give me what I need. I really just love that. Slowing down, it all goes together, but I just love all that.
Thank you. Anyone else want to check in before we sign off? So I want you to commit to one action. It can be very simple and very small. You might even just practice one of the questions with maybe your current coaching client or another client. What's a tiny action you're going to take before we meet in a couple weeks.
Utilizing the questions with my clients.
Okay, great.
For me, it's just the active listening and just the noticing of how quick I am to respond.
Okay, great. Thank you, Barbara.
I'm gonna second Barbara on that, because I feel like I do the same thing. Like, I'm like, oh, there's the problem, so I have the solution, but I'll just politely pretend I'm listening while I formulate their solution. So just like, shh, and listening. It's great.
Beautiful.
I agree. I think it's the same as a little bit of everything, but specifically the service consciousness. So I want to reach out to a client. She's a newer client, and just check in with her, because I feel like our sessions end and there's always so much more. And I, want to respect the boundary of our time, and that generally can happen at the beginning with a client where there's like so much to go through. But I want to just send her an email and check in with her.
Beautiful. Wonderful. Thank you. Andre, did you already share your action step?
No, but I think I kind of did in a way, because I
Yeah.
said I want to just go through these questions for myself, because I do want to work on, you said people transform based on your level of evolution. So my action will be looking at these questions as they apply to myself.
Mhm. Beautiful. Wonderful. So last time I had a group, 2 people were not on Facebook. Is anyone not on Facebook? Because I want to put our group on. Yeah, Rochelle, you're not on?
I'm like perpetually logged out, and to be honest, I don't think I'm going to figure it out anytime soon.
Yeah, that's
It's just,
Brianna did that too. Brianna.
it's like everything I've tried, I've just kind of
Yeah.
given up.
No, I hear you. My daughter is like 4 years. I'm like, she's like, I think you can just say no to Facebook. Okay, well, then I'm going to create a WhatsApp group for us. So where we can put, your questions, and you can record a short little question there if you want. I'll record. So let's stay connected. And then I would like to, through the WhatsApp group, because we're out of time here now. Is anyone not open? Let me know now if you're not open to this. I would like you to be peer coaching each other. So I would, in my ideal scene, you would have 1 hour of being coached by one of your people and 1 hour of coaching one of our people. Does everyone have 2 hours to do that a month? Is there an alternative to WhatsApp? Are you not able to be on WhatsApp, Andre? That's hard. No. Okay. Yeah, I've got a Kajabi. I mean, I have a Kajabi. I can create a Kajabi group. I mean, I definitely have ways for us to be connected. So we'll talk about that if that's an absolute no for you. Yeah. So yeah, I have a Kajabi group I can keep for us. I just thought it would be easier. Then you don't have to log on, just to do WhatsApp. Telegram is an alternative. Okay, I don't know that. I'll have to learn that. Okay. I'll
Text?
figure out a way.
Okay.
Telegram or group text. Is it
Yeah.
okay just to have it be a group text?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I wanted to just give an option for, okay, great. Thank you for speaking your truth and asking for what you want. We're just I'll connect us all on a group text. All right. Have fun trying these new baby steps. We're going to build on this. These are the foundations. We're going to build on this. And I will send you the link, I guess, on our text. I'll send you the link to peer coaching. Yes, I'm just going to draw names. So you'll get to coach everybody and be coached by everybody, in this time. So if you're up to that, I'm just going to draw names out, and I want you to really practice in the next couple of weeks, spaciousness, real spaciousness. Feel how uncomfortable you get just listening. Okay. So I'll do all that on group text. And so we are next on for the 17th. Have so much fun.
Thank you, Vicki.
Vicky.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shira, Samira, Barbara, Andre.